Okay, so chapter 31 is only a short one, and I actually could not leave it. I thought I'm sitting here, it's a gorgeous evening, and I can't not read the last chapter. I need to know how this book ends, and I'm excited to start the third one as well. So, chapter 31. So, we think they've cured the hiccups of the house, and the gargoyle knew where to tickle, and Eric's feather duster did the tickling. So Eric feels like he's been important as well, which is important, isn't it? We all need to feel like we have a role to play. Chapter 31. The silence lasted until Flabbergast began whooping. The strawberry-coloured house began returning to house-coloured house, from its middle outwards to every balcony, roof tile and window ledge, and the front door then sprang open. In Flabbergast's arms, the spoon moaned, "I believe we need a cup of the finest tea in all the realms." I thought that was Spooners, not Flabbergast. "I believe we need a cup of the finest tea in all the realms," said Flabbergast, as he skipped inside the house, followed by Eric. "Thank you," said Nine, as the gargoyle jumped down and handed back the hut duster. The gargoyle shrugged. "You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours." Nine looked down and smiled. "What?" said the gargoyle. "What you smiling for?" "Come with us," Nine said, pointing to the house. "We travel all the worlds and the world between worlds." The gargoyle looked at the house. Then she looked at Nine. "Travel all the worlds, you say? And you get a special room of your own." Nine smiled again. "And I promise it will be perfect for you." The gargoyle stroked her stony chin. "A room, eh? Beats sitting on a wall, being a water spout, all right." So the two of them stepped inside the house, where Flabbergast waited in the hallway and Eric stood on the doormat, holding the door open for them. "More friend," he said, smiling his wonky, tusky smile at the gargoyle. "More friend," said Nine, and she gestured for the gargoyle to enter. "The name's Cascadia Spout," said the gargoyle, "but instead of Cascadia, you can call me Cas." "Well, that's handy," said Flabbergast, eyeing Eric, "because a name with 4 syllables is really not going to work around here." Cas stepped into the hallway. "Welcome to the house at the edge of magic," said Flabbergast. He looked at Nine and raised an eyebrow. Nine shrugged. "What?" "Sometimes we just pick up guests." "We?" said Flabbergast. "We." Nine unpinned the star-speckled cloak with one hand and threw it at the umbrella stand just inside the doorway. A blue arm shot out of the stand, grabbed it, and zoomed back inside again. Nine smiled. "Ah, it's good to be home." And she meant it. Spoon moaned again, rubbed his head, and sat up in Flabbergast's arms. He looked around the house, looked at the others, and looked at his hand. Where the devil's my sword?" I nearly said spoon. Where the devil's my sword?" he said, or he asked. Nine and Flabbergast looked at each other. "Ah, Dr. Spoon, so glad you're feeling better. About your sword. We'll get you another one," said Flabbergast quickly, as Spoon groaned. "A better one. I know a very good blacksmith at the back of beyond." "I should flame it up so," said Spoon. He sat up a little straighter. "Beyond, that's where Professor dishes." A look of realisation dawned on Flabbergast's face. "Then, Dr. Spoon, I believe you have our next destination." Eric took Spoon from Flabbergast and tucked him under his arm. "Make tea," he said, and lolloped down the hallway to the kitchen, with the gargoyle following behind. "Tea help?" "But Flabbergast, you still haven't got your magic back," said Nine. "No," said Flabbergast, "but I will somehow, preferably before I bump into Gazillion again." Nine thought for a moment. "When you were in the tower before with your sister and you asked your question, what was it that you asked?" Flabbergast's eyes sparkled and he smiled knowingly. "Cup of the finest tea in all the realms, madam?" Nine smiled back as Flabbergast started walking down the hallway towards the kitchen. He stopped and called over his shoulder, "And if you'd be so kind as to do the honours." He nodded at the shield by the front door. Nine turned and put her hand on the toad's tongue on the shield, and she gave it a sharp pull. Zabam! There was the strange feeling as though her brain were being sucked out the top of her skull. Everything hurtled in a direction she didn't understand, but was possibly up, but this time she didn't feel so odd. And so the house flew. 9 wobbled on the spot for a moment, then she regained her balance. She pulled out the music box from her satchel. 9 swallowed hard, running the words over and over in her brain, wishing the music box had a chance to finish its sentence. 9 burned the whispered words into her memory. She would never, ever forget them. The words her mother had spoken when she was 3 years old, sitting on a doorstep, wherever that was. I'm sorry, my darling. I have to leave you. I have no choice. This is the best place for you now. Remember, you are loved. Always. They'll take you in here. They'll care for you. They'll clothe you. They'll feed you. Just remember one thing. Tea cupboard, called Flabbergast from the kitchen. Zap. 9 was a closed fan with arms still holding her music box. The fan flopped open with a picture of her mother's smiling face. And with that extra surge of magic, the music box whispered for the very last time. Never eat the pancakes. So her mum knew all along this is where 9 would end up. This is where she would be loved. But don't eat Eric's pancakes. Oh, well, there is a little epilogue, which is another little bridge to our next story. But I'm not going to read that tonight. I'll read that next time, and then we'll start the 3rd book in our trilogy.